We're settled in and it's now time to get the new home set up with a more advanced smart home hub. And in today's video, we're going to be using the Aeotec Smart Home Hub. Thanks so much to Aeotec for sponsoring today's video. Now, I haven't talked about SmartThings for a long time, so let me give you a quick update. So a few years ago, Samsung decided to outsource the building of its equipment to other companies, and it then decided to take all of the software and mainly focus on that. So that's where we get the Aeotec Smart Home Hub. As you can see, it looks very similar to other SmartThings hubs. Here it says it works as a SmartThings hub, but now it is made by Aeotec. And here they've also provided with a few other sensors today. So I think it's great. We now have a company that's behind the hardware, and we have Samsung that is still behind all of the software, making SmartThings just one of the best smart home ecosystems that you can have in your home. So let's go ahead and start by getting this set up. So this video is going to help you get your home hub set up, get devices connected to it, and then I'm going to show you how to automate different things with these sensors and how it's going to save you money. So first we have the smart home hub here. On the back, this is able to connect with all kinds of things. So here we have the hub. It can then connect with speakers, cameras, plugs, lights, sensors, heaters, outlets, remotes, fans, other light switches, and so on. There is an app available for this, which is SmartThings, available in the App Store as well as the Google Play Store. So here on the side, it says works with devices from Aeotec, thousands of other certified devices, voice controllers such as Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa, smartphone apps and for iOS and Android, cameras, doorbells, door locks, garage doors, lighting, power outlets, security systems, switches, televisions, thermostats, windows, and much more. Now, one of the things that this hub has is it connects with Zigbee 3.0, as well as it has Z-Wave Plus, and it connects to other devices with Wi-Fi. Now, one thing that isn't on the box is this is now Matter certified, as well as a Thread border router. Now, the importance of this is it is able to connect to so many new devices that will be coming out soon. So you want to look for products that have the Matter logo here so that you know that it is going to be compatible with your hub. And this is going to be the newest standard for all smart home devices, so you know that it's going to work with your Aeotec Smart Home Hub. So if you're wondering, why do I need a hub? Well, there are certain devices that make life much easier, and they get great battery life when they're connected over Zigbee or Z-Wave Plus. So that's why we have these sensors today that we're going to be connecting to this. And then we can incorporate all of our other smart home devices right into here so that then they can all interact with each other and we can create different automations and so on right within the hub. So let's go ahead, get this unboxed and set up. All right, so here we have the Aeotec Smart Home Hub. And on the back here, you have a DC, so that's where we're gonna plug it in. We have a USB port as well as a LAN port. And I believe this can be Wi-Fi as well. We'll double check that, but this will be plugged directly into your router or your network switch. All right, then we have some instructions. We have our power cord. We have a Samsung charger. That's pretty cool. And then here we have our Ethernet. These look much better than some that I have seen. So it's really nice to see that. Here we're going to connect the Aeotec Smart Home Hub to the wall using the supplied power. Then we're going to download the SmartThings app and follow the on-screen instructions. So let's head to the network room. Then we're going to plug in the power cord and plug this in. And I'm very impressed by the length of that cord. Very easy to reach. All right, now I'm going to head into the SmartThings app. And I've already set up my account, so you may need to sign into your Samsung account or create a new account. But once I'm open in the app, here you can see it has already found the hub, and we're going to select Add Now. And then first it's going to ask where you want this at. So you can have multiple homes in your SmartThings app. So here we're just going to choose this new home I have created called Smartest Home. And then here you're going to choose what location you want to have this in. And I'm going to choose a custom room, and we're going to call it network. Now, it is recommended you place this in a central location in your home and do not put any devices on top of it. Next, it's going to get my location for the best geolocation automations. Now we're going to choose how we're going to connect the hub. Now you can use it wirelessly, like I mentioned, so you could have this plugged in anywhere and it will wirelessly connect. But since we are here in the network room, I'm going to go ahead and choose Ethernet. So now it's saying take the included Ethernet cable and then place it in the back of the smart home hub, and then place it into the back of my router or switch. All right, now it says we need to wait till the light is flashing. Now we're going to take a picture of the QR code. All right, and it says your null is connected to the internet. Perfect. All right, now it is registering the hub, and first it will download an update. And once the updates have complete, it is now asking what we want to name the hub. Since it's the hub, I'm just going to keep it the hub, and you have an option to set it as a favorite, but I don't need to go in there too often, so we're just going to leave as is. Now it's downloading add-on information, and now we are complete. So here we have our hub. It is connected, and no current devices have been connected to it. And here are the different devices it supports: Zigbee, Z-Wave Plus, and also Matter certified, which is awesome. So now let's go head back to the table and get some devices connected to it. So now we're going to head back to the main page of the SmartThings app, and here we can see our home, and I'm currently in the network room. So up here at the top, I have the option to switch between my different homes, and then down here, I have all of my different rooms available. So let's go ahead and tap on all devices, and here it's pulling in personal devices over Bluetooth. Here I currently only have my refrigerator connected, and then the hub. So let's go ahead and add the MultiSensor 7. Now this sensor is pretty cool. It can detect motion, light, vibration, humidity, temperature, as well as ultraviolet light. So there are quite a few things that I'll be able to do with this in my smart home. So here's our instructions. The sensor. Here is a micro USB power cable. And then here it comes with some adhesive, 2 screws, 2 batteries, and here it comes with a mount as well that will go onto the back of the device. So let's start by inserting the batteries. So first we're going to remove the back just by pushing this over to the side, and it comes out just like that. Now here on the back there, you do have the option to put in the micro USB cable. So if you don't want to use batteries, you can wire this in, which is really cool. Then here we're going to use batteries. So we just need to pop in the CR123A batteries like so. And now here in the SmartThings app, I'm just going to tap add, select add device. Here there's a QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and scan QR code. All right, and we're going to connect it to the hub, and we're going to place this one in the kitchen. So that sounds great. And once you place in the batteries, up here at the top, there's a little button you need to press that will then put it in pairing mode to connect to the hub. All right, and we have successfully connected. So now it's giving us the option to name the device. So here we're going to just call it kitchen sensor, and we're going to select save, done. So now we have the sensor there. Let's go ahead and add the other one. And let's name this office sensor. But now we have both of our sensors connected. So here you can see in the office, there is no motion detected. Wave my hand over and boom, there we have the sensor that has been detected. So here it's stating if you put it in a corner, it has about 120 degree radius that it can detect motion, and it can go out to about 5 meters and 2.5 meters high. So here in the office, you can see the office sensor. So if we tap on there, here it's going to give us a bunch of different things. There you saw the sensor flash. So it does a little green flash when it detects motion. And here you can see that it recently detected that motion. And then here are some of the other things that it does sense. So here we have temperature and humidity. Right now it's currently 61.3 degrees Fahrenheit in here and a humidity level of 37%. And then here we have an illuminance measure. So this is actually detecting how much light currently is in the room. So right now it is at 405 lux, and that can go between 0 and 100,000. But if we go to our other sensor, which is in the kitchen, here we can see that all the lights are off and it's only showing 16 lux. So that's really cool that you have that option to use routines based on how much light is currently in the room. So if the natural light is making the room lighter, you could have things automatically turn off. And then if it's getting darker, you can have things automatically turn on. Next, we have power source, and this is currently on battery. And so if you're gonna set this up, you do have the option to do battery or plugged in. And I think you need to have it set up that way before you go through the setup process. So recommend choosing what you want done beforehand and then getting it powered and plug it in. Next, we have the tamper alert. So this is kind of your vibration sensor. So it detects when there is vibration on the sensor. So right now, there's no motion. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the sensor a little bit. And there you can see with just a little shaking, it has detected tamper alert. So then you could have an automation run if there is shaking like that. Next here we have the UV index. So currently there is no sunlight in the room. So it's at 0 or it could go up to 11 plus. So if you have this in an area that does have sun and you want to know what that is, you have that option there. And then last here we have battery life at 100%. So these have been running for a few weeks now. And so far this is at 100%. And the kitchen sensor has been in a high traffic area and it's still currently at 100%. If you want to adjust these settings a little bit further, you can tap the menu here and tap settings. Here we have a motion sensor delay time. So if maybe it's too active for you, you can come in here and delay the sensor for a few seconds or up to 4 minutes. And then if you want the motion sensor sensitivity to be a little more or a little less, you have that option here as well. So you can set maximum, normal, minimum, or you can even disable the motion sensor. And then last, you have a report interval. So how often the device should report in minutes. So if it's reporting too often, you can set a little bit of a delay. So you have 1 minute to 30 minutes to an hour, all the way up to 24 hours. So that allows you to fine tune exactly how this sensor works. Now down here at the bottom, we also have the option to see what routines this is included in. So if I go into the routines, currently I have this set to the office off and the office on. I'll show you how I got those created in just a minute. And then we also have the history tab. So here you can see when motion was detected or not detected, when the tamper alert went off, and all of that. So now if we do go to the routines, we can quickly create a routine for this sensor right here. So let's go ahead and create a new routine. So let's test out a routine. And here when we tap on the sensor, we can choose which of the sensor is going to start the routine. I'm going to cover motion sensor in a minute, but with all these other ones, when we tap on it, we get an option to choose the number, and then whether it matches, is equal above, equal below, or a range of numbers so that we can fine tune what we want the routine to do when one of the different sensors has hit a certain level. So really a ton of automations can be created with this sensor. So the next thing I'm going to do is incorporate all the different devices that I've already set up and incorporate them here. And this is where the Home Hub is really great because it can link all them together, and then I can incorporate all of those into my voice assistant apps and so on. So I've already connected a bunch of Lutron products as well as my Philips Hue bulb. So let's go ahead and get those connected. So the first thing I want to do actually is we're going to head into the kitchen because I have Lutron devices in the kitchen. So now I'm going to select the plus, add device. If I scroll down here, I can search for nearby devices, enter a setup code, or here we can search by brand. So here I'm going to tap by brand, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to search for Lutron. And here we have Lutron. So then I'm going to link my account and sign into my Lutron account. Authorize all of my devices to enter into SmartThings. And here the connection between SmartThings and Lutron is successful. And so we just need to close this page. Now it's going to take all of the devices that I have in Lutron and show them in here. So hopefully I've already named everything correct. I can rename them, but now I can see exactly what devices are there. And now we're going to select done. And now it incorporated all of those devices here into the kitchen. That's not exactly right, so I'll have to do some moving around. So let's go ahead and do that. So first I have a bunch of shades. So I'm gonna hold down on the shade and I'm going to select move to other room, add that room. And here we're gonna choose bedroom 1. And now I'm going to sort the rest of the devices in the home. All right, now here I have my kitchen with all the devices that belong. The next thing I can do is I can kind of organize my room. So let's go ahead and add all of the different shades first. So I have the kitchen shade there. So you just hold down and you can move it up. Then here I have the refrigerator. Then there I have the kitchen sensor. Then we have the kitchen under cabinet lighting. And we have the kitchen island lighting, the kitchen main lighting, and then we have over the kitchen table. So I like actually how that is set up. Now I can also go into the settings and I can manage the kitchen, and here I can change the wallpaper. So here I can use wallpapers in SmartThings. So then once this is enabled, I then have the option to choose one of these colors, and it kind of changes the background to give each room a little more customization. So there you can see it changed my personal devices. I can swipe over, and there we have the devices that I have in the kitchen. So if I tap one of these, it's going to turn off that light, turn that light back on, and I can even dive into each light that I have set up or shade, and here I can see a few more controls. This one is dimmable, and so on. I have routines and history about that light and such. So now I have all my Lutron devices. Let's go ahead and add some of the other devices that I have set up in my home. So one tip is to go to the room you want to add them into and then go through the adding process. If I go here and go to the no room assigned, this would also be a good place where you could import your devices. Then you can go from here and sort them into the correct location so that something doesn't get added to the kitchen that doesn't belong in the kitchen. I now have gone through the home and added all of my different compatible SmartThings devices to the Aeotec Smart Home Hub. And there are a lot of devices. Here you can see just in this room, I have all of these. And then if we scroll through, you can see in all these different rooms, we have other compatible devices. Now, some of the devices, it took a little bit to get working, but once it was working, they have been working great. You can add all kinds of different things to your hub. Here I have a SmartThings button where I can push the button to turn on and off devices. Here I have a water leak sensor where I can place this maybe by the fridge or by anywhere there's water to make sure that there is no leaks present. And once there is water coming in and it touches these little contacts right here, it will then notify me that there is water leaking somewhere. So then down here, you can see all these little white dots. Those are indicating of the room where you are at. So here we're in the office, which is kind of in a ways, if we swipe over, it will go back to a different room. So we can swipe all the way back here to the front. And then here you have just devices connected to your phone. And those are all the devices that I have in my home and the different rooms. So you can also jump to a room by tapping up here, and we can go from the kitchen all the way back to the office just like that. So there's all the rooms we have available, and we can jump back and forth between them. Now you can tap here and manage your rooms. So if you want to add a room, delete a room, you can do that. And I think it is maxed out at 20 rooms. I would really love to see SmartThings add the ability to have more rooms. So you can hit plus, you can add more rooms. You can also come in here and remove rooms, and that's how you can go through and remove those. So we don't need to do that. We're gonna head back and let's see. Sometimes when you add a device, it will be added into the no room assigned. So that means you added it, it connected it to your home, but it didn't give it a place in your home. So all of these different devices don't have a place. So let me put them in the correct place. So first, if we want to, we can hold down on one of these. And we have a few options here. We can edit the light, and here I can adjust the room. And then I can hit save, it will move to that room. Next, you have an option down here that says move to other room. So I can select move to other room, and then I can go through and I say, I want this one to be in the outdoor. And so I can go through and choose every device in no assigned room and select where they want to be. So I can hit save. It then automatically assigns some of those rooms, so make sure you have them right, but it moved them all out. So now let's go to the room we want to add them to. So I want to add all of those into outdoor. So if I tap the menu, we can select bring devices from other rooms. So if I tap there, I can then go into the different rooms. So here in the kitchen, I can go and find all the rooms that were accidentally added there. So let's see, I have all the hue lights that I don't want in there. So I can go through, quickly select all of those different lights, just like that, and hit done. And now it has pulled all of those into the correct room. So that's definitely the fastest way to do it. You go into the room you want. So let's do it again. I'm gonna go into the room I want. Menu, bring devices here. And here I have a lamp that I'm going to add into this room. And I'm gonna double check, make sure I got all those other ones out of the room. Yep, okay, so that looks good. So now I have moved all of my different devices. Now I did find I have one more to move out of this room. So here I have this bathroom one. We're going to move it to another room, and the room I want to move it to is not here. So we're going to add a new room, call it bathroom. Next, you can choose your wallpaper, select done, and move. And now it has moved all of those devices out of the room, and so they are now all in the correct location. Now, the next thing you can do is you can set favorite devices. So maybe there are certain devices you're controlling all the time. You want to be able to access them the quickest. Well, you can add them to the favorites tab here. So here I have some lights that I want to control. So we're going to long press, and then I'm going to set as favorite. So when I set as favorite, it then adds it right here to the main favorites page, and I can then simply turn the device on and off right from this page. So here on the main page, if I want to add new devices, I simply tap the plus. So here we can add completely new devices, or I can invite other family members to my home, or I can create different things like scenes and routines and different lighting groups so that you can control lighting groups together. So that is kind of a brief overview of how you can navigate the SmartThings app. Now down here you have a few other things. There are certain devices that connect with the Life tab. So here one thing I did is I used my Philips Hue hub and I can sync music to it there. So in here there's just a lot more things you can do with smart locks, cooking, energy, air care, and so on. So earlier I talked about how we can save energy, and one of the ways is you can use the energy monitor here. So with this, you can check your electricity usage and get tips for reducing your electricity bill. So here it says you can get more accurate rates by entering your postcode. So we'll want to enter the postcode here. And it's saying that my average kilowatt usage is 10.19 currently for December. Okay. So then in here, it's going to track devices that I'm using, and I can see the kilowatt hour usage, and then I can kind of plan to improve on that by having certain devices turn off at certain times and so on. So let's go ahead and move to that section where we're going to make some automations with these different motion sensors that we have so that we can automatically turn on lights or devices that aren't being used. So is how I'm going to do that is we're going to head back to the main page, and we're going to head to the automations tab right here. So we have a few different things. We can create different scenes and we can create routines. So let's start by just creating a simple routine. So here under the create routine tab, it's giving us a bunch of different suggestions on things that we can do. We can have things change when we arrive or when we leave the home. Here we can have the TV turn on in the morning and adjust the lighting. Here we can have cooking happen if you have compatible cooking appliances. Here we can adjust temperature, so if you have compatible thermostats. Here we have home care, saving energy, lighting, weather, and smart lighting. So a lot of cool recommended options. Let's go ahead and create our custom routine. So the first thing we need to choose is if something happens. So usually it's if you touch a light switch, or here, if one of these detects motion or detects vibration or anything like that, then something happens. So here we're going to select what triggers this item. And so we have time, device status, my location, location mode, or weather. So we're going to choose device status. And then we're going to go in and find the kitchen. And here we're going to choose the kitchen sensor. And here are all the different things that this sensor can do. So it can detect motion. It has temperature, humidity, illuminance, so how bright the lighting is in the room, tamper alert, UV index, and battery. So there's a ton of things that this one sensor can check. So for this, we're just going to do a simple motion sensor, and it's asking, do you want to have a motion detected or no motion? So to start, we're going to have when motion is detected. So we're going to select that. So then you can fine tune that. So if motion is detected and have it instantly operate, or if motion is detected and it's there for 5 or 10 minutes or something. So I'm going to have it trigger when motion is detected. And then here you can also set a precondition. All right, so here we just have when motion is detected. Then we're going to have it automatically adjust the kitchen lights. So here we're going to control device, and we could also have it notify somebody, change location mode, and so on. But we're going to do control device. We're going to go back to the kitchen. And here we have the under cabinet lighting, kitchen under cabinet. Okay, we're going to have it adjust that device. And here we're going to have it turn on. And we can then set the dim level. So let's say we want it set to 50%. And then we can have it automatically turn off after a certain amount of time, or we can also go in and create a separate routine where it will turn off when no motion has been detected for 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and choose a simple turn off after, and then we're gonna do customize, and we'll do a 2-minute timer to turn off. So once motion is detected, it's going to turn on the lights at 51%, and it's automatically going to turn off at 2 minutes. So there you have our first routine, and then we're going to select save, and here give it a name, and we're just going to call it kitchen under cabinet sensor. And now that is actually going to run throughout the day, all day long. So we do need to add where we only want it to run at night. So if I go back in here and I tap edit, we're going to add a condition. So then we're going to add time. So we're going to add a period of time. So let's tap on the night over here, and let's have this start at sunset and end at sunrise every day. And if you only want this to happen once, you could choose only once per day, but we want it to happen throughout the night. So that looks great. And we're going to hit done. And then here under the motion sensor, we're going to turn on that precondition where it also needs to have it be the certain time of day so that it can then run properly. All right, so now we have our time precondition, we have our motion sensor, and then here we have it turning on the lights and then turning off after 2 minutes, and select save. So now that has been programmed into the motion sensor and the routine. So let's go ahead and get our motion sensor set up and test it out. Now here in the kitchen, I wanted to make sure the sensor was able to turn on whether I went to one side of the island or the other. Now I tested it on one end of the kitchen where it was right up to the cabinets, and that worked pretty well, but I wanted it to be a little more active near the end of the island as well. So I ended up moving it over there, and actually liked how it wasn't right next to the cabinets. Nobody will really ever notice this unless they're looking for it. So in this spot, I decided to mount it right here. I did a few tests. I taped it up first so that I could then kind of walk back and forth and look at my phone and see when it was detected. And once I found the perfect spot, that is when I then used the 3M adhesive to get this mounted for a permanent location. I now am ready to fully test this once it gets dark. So here, the lights are now off. I'm ready to go into the kitchen and find a late night snack. And as I walk in, you can see that the under cabinet lights instantly turn on. And even if I'm longer than 2 minutes, every time it redetects my motion, those lights will stay on. Once I find my snack and leave the room, those will then automatically turn off after 2 minutes. Then I don't have to worry about turning them on and off, or even if the kids come down, those automatically turn on and they don't have to touch a button or find the light switch, and it makes it a little easier for them to navigate the kitchen. They leave, they automatically turn off. Nobody has to worry about touching the light switch. Now, if I want to make this routine a little more advanced, I can do that as well. I just need to head back into the automation. Here we have kitchen under cabinet sensor, and here I have what it's going to do, but I'm going to edit that, and I can add an action. And let's say we want to add a few more devices in the kitchen. So I can go into the kitchen, I can add the island pendants, and I can add the main lights. And then here I can give them the details as well, where they're going to turn on and turn off after 1 minute. So we're going to do that to both. Turn on, turn off after 1 minute, done, and save. So super easy to go in and adjust that routine. And now when I walk into the kitchen, it brightens up every light in the room so I can clearly see what I'm doing. Once I leave, it will then turn off those main lights after 1 minute, leaving the nice subtle under cabinet lights there for another minute. Those then turn off and all the lights are off, saving the energy and letting me go about without having to worry about touching the light switch in the middle of the night. Really, this MultiSensor 7 worked flawlessly in this situation. Now with this second sensor, I want to make it so I can save a little bit of energy by turning off devices when I am not using them. So actually right here in my office, I have a bunch of different devices that I'm using. I'm using a light bulb here, I'm using one back there, I'm using them in the back, I'm using a camera overhead, and I'm using a TV. So a ton of devices are on. It actually takes a lot of time when I come into the office to get everything set up and turned on, and I'm wasting a lot of time doing that, but then I also forget to turn some of them off, so I'm wasting a lot of energy by not turning them off. So today I'm going to set up this motion sensor where when I sit down in the chair, it's automatically going to turn on all of these devices. And when I leave for a certain amount of time, it's automatically going to turn them all off so that there aren't any devices on when I am not here. We're going to head into the automations tab. So for this, let's go ahead and create a scene. So a scene when it triggers a bunch of different devices so that they're set up previously in the exact way that you want them to, and then you can have that scene turn off and go back to not being on. So here we're going to call this office recording. And here we can change the icon, and look, there's a little video recorder there. So then we're going to add actions. So add what happens when you run this scene. So here we're going to have it go to the office. So we're going to have it adjust that light, the work light, and the work TV. So it's going to adjust all of those devices. So now we're going to hit next, and we're going to choose what each of those devices are going to do. So we're going to make sure this light turns off, this light turns on, and here we can even customize the scene where we have it a certain color or a certain dim level or even the color temperature of the light. So we have all of those options. So this is great. If you change the lights, you can then create a new scene where it automatically changes all of them back to a specific style. So that is my recording scene. So then we could also add actions and adjust more devices if we need to, but I don't need to do that. So we're going to save the scene, and then let's create another scene. And this one's going to be called stop recording. And here we can just set a moon for end of the day. So again, we're going to go in, control the devices. So all of those devices are then going to turn off. And the nice part about this is once you set up the scene, you can then quickly go in and edit it if something is not working properly, and without having to redo everything or go in and adjust every single light in the room. So there we go. We have our stop recording scene set, and we're going to hit save. Now you could test and run it right there. I'm using some of the cameras and things right now, so I'm not going to do that, but we will test it in just a minute. Okay, so now I have those scenes where I could just come into the SmartThings app and tap on those different buttons to run that scene. But we do want to use the motion sensor to adjust it. So now let's create a new routine. And first we're going to add the trigger. So this is going to run at any time, so I don't need to add a time trigger to this. So we're going to do device status, office sensor, and we're going to do motion sensor, and we're going to do motion detected. So I'm not going to adjust any of these down here. I might use this on the when I turn it off options. So we're going to select done, and then we're going to run a scene. So instead of going through and adding a bunch of different devices, I can just add the office recording scene, and that's pretty much it. That's all we need to do for this routine. And we're going to select save, and we'll call this office on. And then we're going to create a second routine, and we're going to do the same thing, device status, office sensor, motion sensor, and no motion. I'm going to choose there needs to be no motion for a certain amount of time, because if for some reason it doesn't detect any motion while I'm sitting here, I don't want all of my different devices to turn off. So we're going to select keep this. So we're going to do 10 minutes, and I'm going to select done. And here we're going to run our scene, and we're going to run the stop recording scene and select done and save and give it a name, office off. All right, now I have my routine set and I have my different motion sensors ready to be placed. So let's go ahead and place them now. Now that I have my sensor installed, I'm just going to walk around a little bit and make sure that it's only detecting the area that I want it to. If it's not, I will need to reposition it. All right, now we're going to walk around this way, have a seat, and there it detected me. So that works great. Let's go ahead, see what happens if I leave for 10 minutes. All right, that turned it off. Let's see if when I sit back down, everything turns back on. I'm ready to record. Turn on. Ha! It worked. And so that is how you can use the Aeotec Smart Home Hub and the MultiSensor 7 to advance your smart home. I love how I was able to easily incorporate other devices that I already had into the system and then be able to advance what they could do, having the sensor automatically adjust them on and off, whether I wanted it in the kitchen or here in the office. And now I'm definitely saving so much energy because I leave multiple times during the day. They turn off without me having to spend all the time turning off all the devices. I come back and in seconds, I'm ready to record again, which is just so amazing. So if you want to participate in the energy challenge, make sure you check out the IFTTT website in the description below so that you can sign up and pledge to use smart devices to save energy in your home. And if you want to check out more about the Aeotec devices to advance your smart home, make sure you check out the links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one.